Welcome to this live edition of From the Architect's Desk. In 2025, Scopism embarked on an ambitious project to rework the SIAM Body of Knowledge, and as part of that, we had more than 75 volunteers. We've had an output of more than 1,400 pages of content, and all of that has been steered by a team of 3 architects. I'm one of those architects. My name's Claire Agutter. I'm the founder of Scopism, and I'm joined by my co-architects, Dorst and Michelle Major-Goldsmith from Kinetic IT. We're going to talk to you a little bit today about what the project entailed, some of the lessons learned along the way, and what's coming up as well. So Simon and Michelle, welcome, and a huge thank you to you both for your efforts. Let's kick off by talking a little bit about the role of the architect. What does that entail?
I guess lead architect is chief cat wrangler. You talked about 70-odd volunteers from all over the world, different backgrounds, and it changed over the project. So at the beginning it's motivator, getting the different volunteers into their groups together, giving them a little bit of direction, then watching them go. It's almost like your children going out there and doing things. We were the prime contact for the lead authors in each of the sections. So a compendium, for instance, would have a lead author, a couple of authors in there, and then the lead architects will be overlooking that. And as it progressed, we had to get more content focused. Had to make some decisions there. I like to use the term benign dictatorship, where at the end there are 10 people have 12 different opinions, and we had to choose one. And then everything came together, and using reviewers and us, we made sure that it was one coherent body of knowledge towards the end. So yeah, Chief Cat Wrangler I think covers it.
Yeah, that sounds fairly familiar. Like you said, it was a huge team of volunteers, people from all around the world, all types and sizes of organisation as well. I should say, first of all, we're incredibly grateful to everybody who contributed. There were some mammoth efforts, but to work with a group of volunteers that large, what were some of the challenges? What were some of the benefits? Talk to us a little bit about that.
So, yeah, as you quite rightly say, it's two sides to the same coin, if you will. So the challenges, I think, fairly speak for themselves. It's great to have a global community. It's great to have people who are so passionate about, SIAM as a concept, as a discipline, and in terms of its value, that they want to contribute, they want to support, the growth of SIAM and really, put into what the future looks like. So that's a huge benefit. It does mean that there are cultural challenges and differences, different ways in which people engage with each other. There's also the timeline issue, or the time zone issue, which again has its positives and its negatives. So trying to actually, get the calls together could be quite challenging with groups. But also, certainly towards the back end of the project, as you know, we used that as a benefit because we were using that as an opportunity to do the sprints of work. We'd be doing some work in Australia and we'd be passing it over to you and so on. And I'm sure a lot of the teams essentially sort of work like that. So there was a lot of positives, I think, from having a global team who are completely passionate about what they're doing, but also the logistical challenges. They all had day jobs, right? So what you would often find is you got people's energy levels at different points at different times, so you had to sort of accommodate that and go with the ebbs and flows of that. But I think one of the great things that we did do is we introduced this idea of different roles. So there were people, Simon's already mentioned, who sort of led as key authors. There were others who maybe just took on a role of a reviewer or a contributor, or even, I think, debater was one of the roles that was used as well. So there was an opportunity for people to flex their contribution based on the energy and, what they had to give to the project to balance that sort of work life. So I think for me, that was the main focus.
Yeah, I think it is very double, because I think the community offered lots of volunteers at different places in there. Life happens. We had people who were really enthusiastic and then apologize like, I'm sorry, I've got a new job, or something happened and they couldn't do what they wanted to do. But we also had people who stepped in quite late and go like, can I help out? Can I do something? And that was logistically challenging, but it was also really good because there was that flexibility and that additional input, and it makes the body of knowledge such a real community collaboration, which I think is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and I think there's a challenge of fairness as well. One of the commitments that we made early on was with the all hands meetings that we had once a month, was to try and switch the time zones so that if you were in Australia, there was one that was accessible to you. If you were in America, there was one that was accessible to you. But as it turned out, the volunteer group was very heavily weighted towards New Zealand and Australia. So there were less for the smaller number of contributors from the USA. So there were a couple of people who had 3 a.m. calls, and you know their dedication is astonishing to do that. But it is sometimes a challenge to make sure that nobody's left out as well. But overall, I think amazing input from everybody.
And I think the Circle platform really helped as well, where we could have conversations and chats, but also group discussions and group meetings in a central place, again allowing people to contribute in areas where they weren't primarily considered or just be aware of them. So like I said, it's really good collaboration, using the platform, using the volunteers and using their energy, and it worked out with a great result.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, because that platform did give us the opportunity to spin up meetings at a moment's notice. So we had access to be able to do that and send out a really good communication to people so that they knew that the meeting was happening. So I think the flexibility, you know, the support of the tool was a great thing for us, and it really did help.
Yeah, absolutely. So the compendiums are complete. The body of knowledge itself has been fully refreshed. So we've got foundation, we've got professional, we've got 14 compendiums. They're all now freely available to download from the Scopism SIAM community. We've had a little peek into the future as part of the authoring process. Where is SIAM going next? What's the future for SIAM?
Well, I think we've always talked about this idea of enterprise SIAM. So the idea that, you know, SIAM principles and integration practices are going to be relevant across any aspect of a business. So that is really something that we would like to pursue and see longer term. What I'm also seeing is quite sector specific focus as well. Mm-hmm. So SIAM in different environments is something that we're starting to have more broader conversations about. So what do the sectors mean to service integration principles, and how can we evolve and change and modify so that it suits those particular domains? To your point about the compendiums, that was absolutely the insight to the future. So having people stand up and say, SIAM and this thing, and obviously AI was a big one, but you know, SIAM and procurement, SIAM and ESG or people or skills or any of those things gave us that view that SIAM adjacent topics were out there, you know, everywhere, and there was a SIAM connectedness to so many different things, which you will see in the latest compendiums, but also in the future iterations and publications.
Mm. Yes, and I think one of the things is that we know some of the things are happening, or we want some things to happening, like enterprise SIAM and stuff like that, but we also don't know exactly what's going to happen. That's why we had to refresh it 5 years ago, and we refreshed it now. But the current structure allows us to be more agile and add to it. So in the most immediate future, we're going to keep working on those compendiums. We had a couple of them that didn't quite make it for all kinds of reasons in there. So we would love to have something about ESG, or more around the security aspects and risk within a SIAM, or people elements around it. And those compendiums were on the list, but they didn't quite make it. And that's now what we call Tranche 2, where we hope in next year to work on those, or keep working on the ones in there. AI is going to change. Every time I go somewhere, I hear a new AI term in there. And these compendiums can now be updated regularly. And so next year there might be a new AI compendium with the latest elements in there, or a change to one of the other compendiums. So we are kind of ready to keep SIAM up to date with whatever happens through the community and through that compendium layer, or even the layer outside of that, where we hope to get more case study or industry-specific templates or practices around that to really give it that rounded depth and breadth of SIAM that is effective in any organisation, really.
Yeah, and that's such a good point. It was a big thing for us as architects throughout the project to try and make it fun for all of the contributors, or if not always fun, a rewarding experience. And one of the nice things is that as we wrapped up the project and thanked everybody, we asked people to tell us if they'd like to stay involved, because the plan for 2026 is we will create a content council. So volunteers who want to stay involved, or even some new people coming in, to then continue to look at, do the existing compendiums need to be updated? How do we manage the creation of new compendiums? And it was really lovely for me to see the number of people who came back and said, yes, please, I do want to stay involved. And again, the community has given us a really fantastic platform to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think, Claire, as well, to add to that, we were at Service North yesterday, of course, and had an opportunity to meet many of those authors face to face, which was fantastic. And one of the things that was really notable to me is the energy levels now. Everybody was like, so we've done the thing, we've got the book out there, refreshed information, so what next?
Yes.
So everybody was super keen to sort of, we want to carry on with this journey, we want to keep talking to the people we've been talking to, the connections that we've made. So I think that is just a really great byproduct of what's happened here. So I think we should capitalise on that for sure.
I agree. And Simon, any final thoughts that you want to share?
Oh, there's many things. I keep going back on the fact how collaborative this worked, and it's been now the third version of SIAM that I've worked on, that we've worked on, and it still surprises me how we create something that is more than the sum of the people that put in. There's all that energy, there's all that knowledge, there's all that controversy. We had endless discussions about a particular word, whether it was a practice or a methodology, and other discussions in there. But then in the end, when you look at the result, when you look at the past results as well, it's really solid work in there. And I really feel that now with the compendiums and the community, we've created something together that is not only solid today, but will keep that relevance when we move into the enterprise, when the technology changes, when working practices change. And I'm really proud of the community. I'm proud of us having done that. So, yeah. Yeah,
absolutely agree. From me, my massive thanks to both of you. This project wouldn't be what it is, it wouldn't be as good as it is without you two having that steering hand on the tiller. So huge thanks from me. Certainly something that I couldn't do on my own. So I'm very, very grateful for the time, the effort, the knowledge and the expertise that you've put into this.
Well, thank you for your trust. We've been working together for a long time as a team, and it's great that we can continue in that vein, but also get more and more people involved. So thank you for, letting us jump on board again this time.
It's a pleasure. We'll start again next year.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, the updated body of knowledge is available now for download in the SIAM community, so we would encourage you to go find it there. Share your thoughts with us. Every compendium has a feedback link, and we would love to hear what you think if something does need to change. I would also like to say, from a Scopism perspective, we're very grateful to our industry partners who support what we do and allow these projects to happen. Kinetic IT is one of our industry partners. We've been working with Kinetic for more than 10 years now, so huge thanks to them. But also thank you to HCL Tech, to Infosys and to Atos as well, who enable Scopism to carry on making this quality content available free of charge. So thank you again, Simon and Michelle. Thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoy the revised body of knowledge.